All right, guys, Downshift Junior, we're back. A little bit of a different format. Sorry for the hiatus, but we are here to bring you guys more content. A little bit different styles. We're going to do things that are interesting, things that we like or dislike about the vehicles. Usually do that at the beginning, and then we do a really small portion where we drive together and kind of just talk about overall things.
Yeah, we'll kind of highlight the list things, and then we'll have our overarching opinions at the end, behind the wheel, driving together.
Yeah, so hope you guys enjoy.
Let us know in the comments. Okay, 3, 2, 1. The first thing is the design of the car. Now, objectively, it's pretty handsome. Is it the best looking car I've ever seen? No, probably not, but I do like this midnight steel metallic paint. This is a $625 option. I also do like the fact that you have vertical LED running lights. This is very typical of the Cadillac design. And then also we've got our typical Cadillac emblem up here. And then all of these individual accents, they're in the shape of the Cadillac logo, I guess you could say. So it's pretty cool. I like the design aesthetically. You've got some bulging and contouring in the hood. 18-inch wheels. These are trim specific, so if you go up in trim you get a different wheel, and then wrapped in a decent tire. I don't actually know what it is, doesn't really matter because it's a Cadillac and it's not the V Blackwing. You've got a little badge up here on your front fender. You've got some of the smallest and squintiest side view mirrors in existence, and then of course the Boomer spec, chrome everywhere, window treatments, door handles, rear wheel. And then we've got this really like bee sting of a trunk, boot rather, eh? It's a bit swollen looking for me. You've got a lot of badging up here, CT4. This is equipped with all-wheel drive, it's rear-wheel drive as standard, but you'd again have vertical taillights in here and dual exhaust, which we'll talk about later, as well as that badge right there.
And the next thing we like is the luxury and tech features. So I'll start with the luxury. Heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheels. The front seats are pretty comfortable. We'll talk about the rear later on. And then with the tech stuff, you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. The Apple CarPlay is wireless. You also have a wireless charging right here. You have an 8-inch display right here, which we'll talk about later. And then you also have a fully digital gauge cluster. Now this gives you some really good information, and this is really great. You also have a heads-up display. And then I want to talk about the 360 cameras because these are pretty good quality for what you get. And the next thing that we like is the Super Cruise. Now this is a $7,700 package that you have to purchase. And this is kind of the distinct feature if you have it. This is kind of the indicator when you're in Super Cruise to tell you if it's disengaging, if you're green, it's engaged. But basically this is level 2 autonomy. They've covered up to 400,000 miles of highway, which is awesome. It's one of the best out there, we think. It does some really cool things like lane change. So if you put your indicator on, it'll do a 360 view, make sure you're safe to change, and it'll automatically change for you. That's super cool. It also does triggered video recording. So let's say that you get into a crash or something like that, it will record for you, which is really cool. And then it'll also vibrate the seat when it is about to disengage, which is another awesome safety feature that the Super Cruise comes with.
And the next thing that we like is just the ride. Now, when people say this is like the Cadillac of something, this is kind of what they're talking about. For something that's competing against like a 2 Series Grand Coupe, an A3, this has a much more sophisticated ride. It's a lot better damped. It just has a much more refined and isolated feeling cabin than you get in something like that BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe, the A3, or the Mercedes CLA. So it is very nice when you're not pushing it toward the limit, which obviously you wouldn't be because this is not the Blackwing. And the next thing that we really like kind of builds on the Super Cruise. It's kind of the overarching safety systems that you have here. Now this is a very safe vehicle, and not only has great autonomy, but it also has adaptive cruise with full stop. It has lane keeping and pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic alert, and it's got 360 cameras, detectors, and all sorts of things to keep you safe on the road and keep those around you safe as well.
And another thing that we like is the power that comes out of this 2.7 4-liter engine. It makes 310 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque, and I will demonstrate what that kind of looks and sounds like momentarily after this very fast van passes me.
Sienna. It's quick, but it doesn't sound very good.
No. And now we're going to talk about the things that we don't like. And probably the biggest thing that we don't like is what this thing sounds like from an engine and exhaust perspective. Now this 2.7 liter is in a lot of other GMC's lineups, more specifically trucks. And I think in there, the sound makes a lot of sense, but it does not sound like a true Cadillac, nor I think would you want this to sound like it. So let me give you a listen.
And the next thing that I dislike is the fuel economy here. Now this is a 2.7 litre turbocharged four-banger like Polo said, and it just doesn't, it makes good power, but it just doesn't have that much fuel efficiency. The combined figure from the EPA is about 24 miles per gallon. And that's in something of this class. You can upgrade to something like an Audi A4, which is a class above, and that's getting about 27 mpg, so it's just a little bit thirsty, this. And the next thing that irks me a little bit is this car is over $53,000 as tested, and we still don't have not only a Pano roof, but a sunroof at all. It's kind of inexcusable at this price.
And another thing that we don't necessarily like or find a bit strange, and this might be a little bit nitpicking as well, but this 500T badge, so this is supposedly 500 Newton meters of torque, which is like a European metric, not necessarily something that they usually talk about here in America. It's also technically 450, but they rounded up to 500. So it's just like the whole thing seems really wacky. I don't understand why they felt the need to put this on the back of the car. Like, it's just, who asked for this? And the next thing we don't like is this space back here. And I mentioned on the likes that the front seats are very comfortable and there's a lot of room up there, but this is how Matt would sit at 6'1", and I'm 6'2", and you can see I do not fit back here comfortably at all, legroom wise, and my head is also touching. So don't know where all the room went, but it's not back here.
And another thing I don't really love is, maybe this is a bit of a nitpick, but this screen is just an 8-inch screen, and it just seems a little bit small in comparison to everything else that you get in the segment for something claiming to be premium luxury.
And the last thing that we don't like about the CT4 is the price. Now this thing comes in at just over $53,000, which is actually $1,000 more than an Audi A4 Premium 45. So you get a lot more car there, you get a lot more MPG. I just don't understand why someone would get this over that. This thing just is priced way too high. All right, now this is just a portion where we're gonna go on a short drive, 3 to 5 minutes, and just kind of talk about our overall thoughts and the week that we had with the vehicle. So, I don't know, where do you want to start?
I think generally my feelings on the vehicle are, it can be summed up in a very simple statement. If you're looking at this car in a vacuum, and you're not looking at anything else or how expensive anything else is, it's perfectly pleasant. It rides fine, the power's decent, it looks pretty handsome, the interior's nice enough. But as soon as you start looking at other things, even in a segment above this, even in the 3 Series, the C-Class, the A4, those are better cars with usable back seats, better fuel economy, and for less money a lot of the time. And I think that's my problem with this car.
Yeah, I have the same reservations. I don't understand. The only thing I can think that this thing has over like an A4, and you also kind of compare it to an M340, which is a bit more expensive, but you get 100 more horsepower in that, is maybe the ride comfort that this thing has. And maybe if someone was super sold on like the Super Cruise compared to what Audi and BMW are going to offer you.
Yeah, 100%. This bit right here is why you would buy this car.
Yeah, you do a lot of highway driving. You want that to you like this level of autonomy that it offers, and you are super particular on your ride comfort because this is a pretty comfortable ride, especially in the front seats. Absolutely no room in the back. I think this screen is also kind of just hilarious to me, that you have this insane digital dash. It's gorgeous, and then you have this little 8-inch screen next to it. It's just kind of,
it looks old, for sure. Yeah, I think to me it's a value proposition problem for me, because at base this car makes a lot more sense around like what, 40 grand or whatever, but this is 53 grand or more as tested, and for that money you're so close to, like you said, M340 from BMW. Or just save the money and go for the Blackwing. Don't get the V because it's the same engine, and that's a big problem here.
Yep.
Go for the Blackwing. If you're going to spend 53, you might as well spend Blackwing money, or you might as well save for like a base M340.
Right.
It's just a value proposition problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, thanks guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the new format, and we'll be bringing you guys some more content soon. So thanks for tuning in. Later, guys.
Bye.